am aware that also we're live on IPHM's Facebook as well. So I'll pop in there afterwards if anybody's watching on Facebook so that I can just check in and answer any questions that pop up in there. So do say hi if you're on the call with me. Do say hi. Let me know where you are and where you're tuning in from, and just enjoy and relax. I hope you've had a nice day, and I hope that things are going good for you as we move into 2021. Just a few wee things before we begin. As I said earlier, just, because there'll be so many of us potentially on the call, please do make sure you stay muted. And if you do want to speak, let me know, raise your hand, and we'll see if we can get you on to have a wee chat if you want to. But you don't have to, obviously, if you don't want. So I do have a few notes, and I'll try not to fizzle too much. Anybody who has seen me do chats before will know that I kind of wing it as I go along, but I've tried to be a little bit more sensible for this one. So hello Kaylee, happy Saturday from Birmingham. Hi Ashley, love it. And Lisa, hi everybody. So it's nice to see you. Hi Bronwyn, really nice to see you all tuning in. So I'll check in with the chat box as we move through. And lovely from London, Canada, amazing. Hi, bet you it's really quite cold and snowy there. We're complaining about the snow here, but I'm sure Canada's got it even better than we do. So just lovely to speak to you all and to see you. So just before we get started, it'd be an idea for me, I suppose I don't really need my headphones on, it'd be an idea for me to tell you really who I am and what I'm doing and who I am, why you're even listening to me. This chat's about positive focus, but before that, it's always a good idea just to do a wee bit of introduction. So my name is Debbie Barr, as you can see on the screen there, and I own a company called Rocks and Rituals. So Rocks and Rituals has been my baby for 10 years, and it's a mind, body and spirit wellness company where we look after mind, body, spirit work. So obviously this event is being organised by IPHM, and it is a holistic wellness and beauty conglomeration collaborative event that's bringing everybody together. So it's really nice that they've run this, and don't forget that you can find out more about them on iphm.co.uk and follow their, join their newsletter and things. It's really quite nice. Any of you who are therapists as well, don't forget you can join IPHM, and it's really good. I'm an accredited member with Rocks and Rituals, and you can find out more about Rocks and Rituals on www.rocksandrituals.co.uk. I'll pop the links up at the end so that you can have a wee look and connect with me. It would be nice to connect in with you and find out a little bit more about you and what goes on and what you're doing. So just going to let you know a little bit more about myself. Reiki master, teacher, shamanic practitioner, mindset mentor, all those sorts of labels that we pop on ourselves. But essentially, I do energy healing work and teaching. And I'm very passionate about getting people to look at what's going on in their minds and how they think and how they perceive, because we can create our own reality. I've also written a couple of books. The Reiki Solution, which is a short book, probably only about 68 or 70 pages, that just goes through the Reiki principles and helps bring those into your life. So I've also written a wee book called The Rocks and Rituals Tarot Tales, which is about learning the tarot. But outside of Rocks and Rituals, you will see me most likely in an ambulance. I'm an ambulance volunteer for St John Ambulance. So this is one of the vehicles that you'll see me running around in. Which has been challenging throughout 2020 and 2021. I've been in St John for 3 years now, and one of their emergency ambulance drivers and crews. So we've seen it all from both ends of the scale, from being a holistic therapist and then seeing it from a medical point of view. It's also, it's quite interesting, and it brings balance to my life. It allows me to give back as well. But I also paint, and you'll notice that I paint under the name Debbie Garrett, which is my maiden name. And that is just therapy for me. It's where I can lose myself for hours at a time. So hopefully most people are in the meeting now, and I'm going to stop talking about myself and talk about what we're actually here to chat about, which is positive focus. Okay, so before you roll your eyes and think, oh, not another chat about positive thinking, it's not positive thinking that I'm talking about. It's positive focus. So let's have a wee look at the difference between these two. Positive thinking, it's something that, I don't know about you, but you can tell when someone is using positive thinking to sweep things under the carpet and to find themselves in a state of denial, because it doesn't often acknowledge the negative reality. And someone's constantly using positive thinking, sometimes they're not always acknowledging the things that aren't going right. And it's almost like they're living in make-believe land or cloud cuckoo land. And it can sometimes denote a lack of responsibility or spiritual bypassing, you know, where they bury, it's like an ostrich burying the head in the sand and trying to just be so positive all the time that it actually isn't in resonance with what's actually happening in life. Whereas positive focus is a subtle but different focus. It honestly looks at the reality of the current situation. Okay, it asks you to accept the situation for what it is and then decide to make the most of it by understanding that your focus will affect your future reality, where you place your focus, where you're placing your energy, where you're placing your, just all your attention and intention will affect your reality. Positive focus also acknowledges, like the yin and yang symbol that's on the screen here, the duality of nature. Because you can see within the dark side of the yin and yang symbol that there is a sphere of light, and within the light side there is a sphere of dark, because both are required. The polarity is needed. You need to have positive and negative. You need to have both sides of the same coin in order to have balance in your life. So positive focus doesn't ask you to sweep the negative under the carpet and to deny things and to bypass them spiritually and just live in a bubble. It asks you to look at things honestly, but to choose to then place a positive focus on it and to look for the best in the situation rather than just imagining all things are great. It gives you a little bit more self-responsibility. Okay, so can you see the difference? You know, have you any thoughts on this? Anything that you want to pop up? You know, feel free to pop it into the chat box if you wish. You know, do you see the difference between positive thinking and positive focus? We're choosing to make the best of things rather than complaining. You know, for example, positive thinking isn't going to necessarily pay your bills. Positive focus might help you look at how you're going to make more money to pay your bills, because you'll take a positive focus on it, saying, I maybe don't have exactly what I want right now, but I can find better ways of doing this. I can focus my energy in a more positive way. I can focus on what I want to drive my life forward, to live the life I want without any excuses, because when you choose to have a positive focus, it's very empowering. And I really like this this week quote that I found when I was putting the slides together for this. If you stumble, make it part of the dance. And I think that's lovely. I think, you know, we have a choice. So let's say you were doing a dance and you do have a stumble. You can choose to let that stumble ruin the whole thing, or you can choose to just make it part of the dance and carry on. And I think we have that in our day-to-day lives. And I think that this particular time that we're living in really does test us on that. Do let me know if you have any thoughts on this. You know, please, as I say, do pop them into the chat box and I'll go through them as I can. You know, thank you, Ashley. The Reiki Solution's amazing, highly recommended. I'll pay you later. Bronwyn, yeah, that quote is, it's really nice. You know, if you stumble, make it part of the dance. I don't know who wrote it. If anybody knows who actually wrote it, please do let me know. It's lovely. It says on the screen here, author unknown. So, but it's nice. And I think these little quotes are things that we can certainly choose to live by, you know, and we can choose to live the life that we want to live without any excuses and without just burying our heads in the sand. So I think it's important that we see the difference between positive thinking and positive focus. And I thought it would do no harm for us to look back at the lessons that 2020 gave us through positive focus eyes. Okay. And we're still living this reality just because it's moved to 2021. It hasn't gone away, as I'm sure you're all very aware. But obviously over the last 12, 15 months, we've found ourselves in the middle of this pandemic. We've found ourselves locked down, restricted, changes to the way we have to live our life. We have struggled with the frustrations of different governments handling things in different ways. We have been in and out of lockdowns, and whether you agree with it or not, you know, it's not, I find my mantra in 2020 tended to be, you do you and I'll do me, because we can't all agree on the best way, because nobody knows the best way forward for all this, other than to try and maintain a positive focus on it and not get sucked into the madness and the horrible nature of it. Yes, many people have had profound loss to deal with, physically and mentally. And it's important that we look after our mental health and our physical health as we go through this. But the pandemic has given us a lot of opportunities for change. You know, there's been blessings in the madness, if you choose to look for them. For example, you know, back in early 2020, when the first big lockdown started to happen, the environment began to recover. Children in China saw blue skies for the first time in their lives. You know, there was wildlife coming back into the canals in Venice. Mother Nature was starting to repair the damage that we had been doing with our human activity. The air was cleaner, and I don't know about whereabouts you live in the world, but in the UK, at least in Northern Ireland, we had the best weather we'd had for quite some time. It was almost like the environment took a deep breath and sighed, a big sigh of relief when we all were inside. I often saw the little birds and things in the hedges looking at us as if to say, what's wrong? The humans are all staying inside, what's going on? And I find it amusing, and I chose to see the lighter side of life with it, rather than, you know, rather than focusing on the negative, because we have that choice. You know, businesses had to innovate to stay relevant. So we saw clever and inspiring use of technology. We saw it bring out either the best or the worst in people. You know, so it was very much that innovation and kindness there. People were striving to help each other. And what I find most beautiful about what's been going on is that a lot of people woke up. A lot of people woke up to their spiritual nature. And in turn, were starting to look within themselves, which in turn then drives even further change spiritually and positively. And more people started to turn their lights on and to shine their light into the world. And that's what this is all about. Because if you shine your light nice and bright, it gives other people permission to do the same. So it's just nice to have a think about that, and to have a think about the impact that these things have for us. Thank you, Ashley. The quote is by River Maria Urke, I think. Thank you very much. That's very helpful to know, just because I couldn't find who it was by. So let me know your thoughts on that as well, any lessons that you sort of came up against, because it's really, really important that we focus on what we want, not what we don't want, because this happens all the time, okay? When you focus on the blessings and the good things in life, and you choose to see through positive eyes, and you choose to focus on what you want to achieve and what you love, you find your energy expanding. Try this for a moment. I want you to just close your eyes for a moment and imagine something or someone that you really love, or doing something that you really love to do, and just feel how that feels in your body. Feel how that expands your energy, how that makes you feel good, makes you feel elevated, makes you feel alive. Whereas if you take a moment now and think of something you don't like, or you feel constricted by the focus on a negative aspect, do you feel the change in your body? Do you feel how all of a sudden you feel contracted and constricted, and it just feels icky? It's not nice. So when you choose to have a positive focus, you can open your eyes if you've got them closed. When you choose to have a positive focus, you can choose to be more expanded and in your power. So when you focus on the positive things that are happening in the world rather than the conspiracy theories and the negativity and the constant fear being driven by the media. You can choose to place your focus in a more empowered way and in a better way. So you focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. I'm just having a wee look at the messages here. Biggest lesson was, if I'm willing to let go of the picture of how I think my life should be, then it opens up the possibility of something else occurring. And that's so true. Thank you, Bronwyn, for sharing that. You know, it's really important, because quite often we do have a picture in our heads of how we think life will be, how we think it should be, and we form an attachment to that, and then we're disappointed when it doesn't work out. And we then beat ourselves up, and then we fall into a negative spiral. So when you let go as well, and I think when you have a positive focus and you accept things for how they are and choose to see the best in things, what that does is it empowers you to create that life that you want, but without expectation of it actually having to be a certain way. You develop a faith and a trust in the universe. We are so powerful. We are cosmic beings made of star stuff. We have creation energy within us and all around us. And we create our own reality by the thoughts that we think and the actions that we take then as a result of those thoughts. You know, every day we've choices to make. We can choose whether to act out of love or whether to act out of fear. We have a choice. You can't have light without dark. You can't have up without down. You can't have within without. You can't have, you know, you have to understand the duality. And going back to the yin and yang, we need both sides, but we also then need to be consciously aware of our choices that we're making and where we're placing our focus every day. Because I don't know about you, but I've noticed an awful lot that people tend to focus on what they don't want rather than what they do want. So I've heard people talking about this pandemic. They're like, I don't want to be locked in. I don't want to be hemmed in. I don't want. Well, that's pouring more and more energy into what you don't want rather than what you do want. You know, people saying this isn't going right, this isn't right. Or for example, I'll give you an example that happens all the time. You're running late. You sleep in, you've got an appointment to be, or you've got to get to work, or you've got to get to a meeting or something along those lines, or meeting a friend or whatever it is, but you're running late. And you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to be late. I am going to be late. I'm so late. I'm going to be late. What happens? You jump in your car and you hit every red light. You drive behind every slow tractor, every cyclist, every slower car, traffic jams, or if you're not driving, you maybe are going by public transport, the bus is late, the train is late, it breaks down, there's leaves on the line, something daft holds you back because you're constantly pouring energy into, I'm going to be late. Therefore, the universe conspires to deliver what you have said onto your plate. There you go, you're late. Whereas I tried an experiment to see whether this was actually valid or not, because I don't like to just tell you things unless I've done them myself. And I started to change it around and say, if I found myself running late, rather than focusing on the fact I was late, I started to say, I have all the time in the world. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And what I found when I did that was that it actually conspired to make that a reality. I found that as I eased the car out into the traffic began to clear. I was able to get out easily into traffic. The lights turned green and a car parking space just miraculously appeared thanks to my parking angels, because I was giving a positive focus on what it is that I wanted to achieve. You know, and it's so important. Another example of this is whenever you find yourself in need of a bit of cash or you're worrying about money, all of a sudden the universe conspires to give you more reasons to have no money. Do you ever notice that? Do you ever notice that whenever you think, oh God, I don't have enough, then your car breaks down or the kids need something for school, or you know, you have an unexpected bill, because again, you're focusing on the lack rather than focusing on the abundance that's all around you. I'm sure you've all had these experiences. I'm sure this is something that's not new to you, but sometimes you forget and you don't see it. Lee said, we make choices, but not always the right ones, but we need to make them and learn from them. And this is true as well, because we are all human. We are all human and we all make mistakes. And it's about learning from those as you go. But when you start to place a positive focus on your life and you start to make conscious choices from a place of love, you tend to find that even if it is a perceived mistake, there's no real mistake, because you're always exactly where you're supposed to be. Because wherever you put your energy, that's where your attention and your energy flows. So if you put your attention on lack, you'll get more lack. If you put your attention on fear and negativity, then that's all you'll see. If you continue to just see obstacles, then that's all you'll see. Whereas if you see possibilities, then doors start to open for you. So it's up to us. We are responsible people, and it's up to us to have these mindset shifts. And it is a subtle mindset shift where we focus on the positive outcomes and focus on what we can do. I've been using this particular shift all throughout 2020 and through the pandemic and what's going on, because at the start of 2020, just before the pandemic hit, I decided that it was the year that I was really going to throw myself into my business and to really make it work. And then the pandemic came, and as a close contact service, I was shut down along with many other businesses. And I had the choice to make, just like everybody else did. It would have been really easy for me to go, oh, well, that's it then. It's over. It's done. And focus only on the problems. But I shifted my mindset and started to practice what I preach and to walk my talk. And I think that's really important. I think in 2020, a lot of us were forced into that position, don't you think, where we had to actually stand up and do what we said we were going to do. I had to focus on the positives of what I could do rather than what I couldn't. So for me, I asked myself, well, what can I do? I have a hands-on wellness business here where I see people one-to-one and I teach classes in person. What am I going to do? And I find that actually most of my classes could be taught online. My sessions could all be delivered online. My energy sessions, Reiki, can be delivered across distance without any loss of service whatsoever. Shamanic healing can be done across distance. Even crystal healing can be done across distance as needs be. Everything is energy. It can all be done without a problem. So I was like, okay. I can also do video readings, video calls with people, coaching calls with people. So the technology that was available to us connected the whole world. So instead of the pandemic then becoming a problem, it actually became a positive feature because it allowed me to actually reach different people and more people rather than just keeping it confined. So had I buried my head and went, I'm not looking at this, there's no way I can move my wellness work into an online space, this is awful, then my business surely would have folded along with my livelihood and I would have had problems. And I'm not saying it was easy, because it's not easy to make changes and it's not easy to always hold that positive focus. We are human and we do change how we're thinking from time to time and we do sometimes struggle. But at the same time, it took the work and the persistence to make it happen. Actually, then really, I found it quite a positive thing. And I know that there's other therapists and other businesses out there who found the same, that with their innovation and their change, they were able to have the success and to build a different style of business that was adaptable and flexible. And that mindset shift is all it takes for you to have the same success in your life. You focus on what you can do. Focus on the actions you can take to move you a step forward. Consciously focus on the choices and to move towards. What attitude do you have in your life? What emotions are behind it? As I said to you earlier, when we feel about something that we love, we feel expanded. That emotion runs through our body and we feel good. And when we focus on fear or negativity, then we feel contracted and we don't feel good. So learning to listen to your body, learning to put that positive focus onto the body and focus within is something that's really, really important. And it's something that I think we can all really learn to look within. So do let me know your thoughts on that. Have you discovered through 2020 and beyond, and even before, 2020 is just our latest thing that we've thought about with the pandemic and everything that's going on. But Is it something that you've noticed that you have this choice and that you can find yourself more willing to make a positive, focused choice rather than getting sucked into the fear? And I think as 2021 begins, it's important for us now to set that intention, not a resolution, because that's not going to work, but an intention to move forward positively with conscious choice, because what it does is it really, really empowers you. And rather than you giving your power away and scattering your energy all over the place by looking at everything that's wrong, you draw it within and you find out what's really, really positive and good for you. And I think that that is something that is very good for a lot of people, and it allows you just to bring that positive focus. So if it's all right with you, I thought what we could do, I'll just have a quick look in the chat box. 2020 was the year I focused on my career to allow me to live a life I love and have a job I'm really proud of. Absolutely. And Jessica, 100%. I've completely shifted my mindset this year, learning to focus on the good. And that's so lovely. And it's nice. I think quite a lot of people this year have definitely woken up to the power within and choosing to focus on take the positive spin rather than seeing the negative. So if it's all right with you guys, what I thought we could do for I'm just checking, keeping an eye on the time here, it's 6. For the next 5 minutes or so, what I'm going to do is, I'm just having a wee look here. Celia, that's lovely. I see Celia has sent a wee private message just to say she's moving her thoughts back into a positive thing. So that's lovely. You're very welcome, Celia. Ashley, pandemic has forced a lot of us to have a long, hard look at how we do things, as we'd fallen into a pattern of acceptance. The mindset shifts amazingly. Absolutely. And it is, and Ashley, I know that you personally have worked hard as well to keep your business online and going. So I know that you have that positive mindset shift too. So it's really important. And thank you so much, guys, for engaging with this, because it's really good. What I would say to you is, what I thought would be nice for the next few minutes is if we just take a wee look at a positive meditation exercise. I have a wee bit of background music here. I'm just going to play along in the background. Hopefully it'll not be too loud or annoying, but feel free if needs be, if it is too. I'll just maybe turn it down slightly so it's just barely in the background. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to get you to do a little bit of a meditation exercise for the next 5 minutes here. So I want you just to close your eyes for me. Okay. And we're going to take a few lovely deep breaths. So just sit comfortably somewhere where you can relax and just allow yourself to come into this state of peace and tranquility. Okay. So just begin by focusing on your breath. Just notice it. You don't need to change it. Just notice it as it moves in. Just as it moves in through your nose or mouth and goes down into your chest, maybe down as far as your tummy. And just notice that small pause on the turn of the breath and notice it moving all the way out. And just repeating that process, just focusing on the breath for a few moments. Just bringing your attention to your breath, you naturally begin to relax. And your breath naturally slows and deepens. And thoughts or concerns may pop in. Just allow them to be there. Just acknowledge them and then set them to the side. Just allow yourself to be here now. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. This is your time. And there's nothing else you have to do right now except breathe. So from this place of stillness and peace and relaxation, in this safe place that you've created for yourself, I want you to imagine yourself happy, healthy, smiling, radiating positivity and presence and power, living your best life. Notice how that feels. Notice those feelings inside your body. Feel how good it feels to be that version of yourself. And I want to ask you now, what stops you from being this happy, healthy, smiling, empowered person? What stops you from living that life right now? Notice any negative focus as it comes up and allow it to be there for the moment, because we need duality. We need both negative and positive. We need the polarity for balance, yin and yang. For in the midst of this shadow is often your power. What holds you back from living your best life? Let's just take another deep breath for me and refocus your attention back on living your best life, on your happy, smiling, healthy and loving self. What small step or action does your inner wisdom tell you that you can take today to move towards a more positive focus in your life? Could it be perhaps keeping a gratitude journal to help you count your blessings? Might it mean drinking more water or eating more healthily? Perhaps you need to stretch or move your body more. Or maybe you need to bring in some spiritual activity into your daily routine. Journaling or meditation. Allow your own innate wisdom to guide you, for you are the driver of your life. You do not need to be the passenger. You drive your life through your positive focus and your loving, conscious awareness of the choices you make every day. So allow that thought to sit with you for a moment in loving kindness. So just breathe and allow that focus. And it's time then just to come back now and bring that wisdom back into your daily life. So as you focus on your breath again, notice your feeling of your body sitting on your chair or lying on a bed or wherever you may be. Become aware of your physical body once more. And just take a moment, if you have a pen and paper with you, as you gradually, when you feel ready, open your eyes. Feel free to write down anything that came to you. And perhaps commit to taking one small action in the coming days that will help you move forward with positive focus in your life. So just take another deep breath or two for me. And just gently come back in to a space of calm and well-being. So I hope that that was helpful for you. I hope that you enjoyed taking a moment out of your day, because that's all it takes sometimes, is just to take that moment of peace and just relaxation, to tune into your inner wisdom. So do please pop any questions you have into your chat box, and feel free to write down your messages. Thank you guys for those comments. It's really nice. Let me know if you've any questions, anything you want me to answer. Anybody that's watching live on Facebook, I will jump in to the Facebook afterwards and have a wee look and answer any questions that comes up. But do pop in any questions that you have there for me. And as I say, it was just a wee short meditation, but that's just to prove as well that you can bring that into your life at any time that you want. And all that really remains, just double checking, just heading up for 6:10, and I'm aware that we've got someone else coming in at 4:15, so I don't want to hog this for too much longer. But thank you so much for attending this talk. And as I said, it was organised by IPHM, so you can check them out on iphm.co.uk. And as I say, feel free to please visit rocksandrituals.co.uk just to see whatever else is on. I popped a few links on the back here as well. I've got the rest of today's agenda. So you can see, I think Tammy's coming up at 6:15. And then we've got emotional stress, anxiety and pain management coming up at 7. So that's just really lovely, just to round off the day. The links are there. So IPHM's link is there on the screen for you. So feel free to pop them down. Do please connect with me on Facebook and Twitter and on Insta. And if you're interested in any of the artwork as well, you'll find it on debbiegarrettart.com. So do let me know or get in touch with me, and just so nice to connect with you today. So yes, Joan has asked her, do I have a website? Yes, Joan, I do. It's on the link's on the screen there. So just www.rocksandrituals.co.uk. And as I say, you can get in touch with me through social media as well. Tom, meditation is always a great activity to do. Ending with this was a nice way to end it. Thank you so much, Tom. It's really nice. I have to say I was a tad nervous. I've never probably done anything just like this with strangers. I usually know everybody that's on the call. So it's been my pleasure to talk to you today. And it's just been really, really nice to get in touch with you all. So have a lovely evening, whatever you're up to for the rest of tonight. And if you're hanging on to join with everybody else, as I say, Tammy's up next.